Welcome to Sleep Tight Frights, the place where bedtime stories don't always end sweetly. I'm Evergrey, your storyteller in the shadows. Each tale is a little strange, a little spooky, and just creepy enough to keep you peeking over the covers. So settle in, close your eyes, but don't fall asleep just yet. This story takes us on a class trip to one of the creepiest corners of the city, where every tank has legs and the quietest places hum with life. The Victoria Bug Zoo is full of strange and fascinating insects, beetles that hiss, spiders that stare, and centipedes with too many legs to count. But not everything in a glass case stays behind the glass, and not all the candy in the gift shop is just candy. So settle in, keep your hands out of the candy jar, because tonight's story is called The Candy That Crawled. It was supposed to be just a field trip. Nothing dangerous, nothing weird, just tanks full of bugs and a few laminated worksheets. Olivia wasn't even that excited. She didn't love bugs, not like Max, who could name every species of beetle in the world, or Hannah, who once let a cockroach crawl on her arm without flinching. Still, the Victoria Bug Zoo had its charm. It was small, dark, filled with glass cases where things twitched and hissed and blinked without blinking. 16 students, said Miss Drexel for the 5th time. Stick with your buddy, no touching, no screaming, no candy until the end. Olivia glanced at the gift shop. It was already glowing with bright wrappers and glittery shapes behind the glass. Bet you won't eat a real bug, said Hannah. Bet you I will, Olivia replied without thinking. The zoo smelt like damp moss and something old. Each tank pulsed with life. A whip scorpion crawled sideways across its log. A tarantula huddled in its hollow, eyes reflecting the overhead lights like dark pearls. A mantis slowly turned its head as the class passed by. And near the back, behind a staff-only sign that hung crookedly from one screw, stood a tall man in a dusty coat. He wasn't listed on the zoo's website. He had no name tag, just a voice like chittering wings. Some creatures, he whispered to no one in particular, don't belong in tanks. They like people better. Olivia looked at him too long. He looked back like he didn't blink at all. They reached the final exhibit. A rotten log split open to show a colony of beetles wriggling like shiny living puzzle pieces. I'd rather be a beetle than a butterfly, Olivia murmured to herself. A memory bubbled up. Some beetles can survive being stepped on. Their shells flex, they rebuild. She didn't know where she learned that. Maybe here, maybe somewhere else. At the end of the tour, the gift shop burst open in candy-colored brightness. Bug candy, the sign read. Try one if you dare. Each wrapper had a real insect inside. Ants, crickets, mealworms stuck in glossy hard candy like an amber time capsule. Olivia's friends gathered around, daring each other, laughing. She ignored the normal flavors. Her eyes were drawn to a separate box, almost hidden behind a dusty terrarium. Its lid was wooden, scratched. The label faded. Experimental batch, not for display. And in someone's spidery handwriting, IDK. Inside was a single candy, black, shiny, shimmering with colors that changed when she turned it. It looked just like a beetle's shell. Olivia felt her hand reach for it before she even made a decision. The creepy man in the coat appeared beside her. I see you've chosen the brave one, he rasped. Olivia swallowed hard. What's in it? He smiled without teeth. Only what's already inside you. She unwrapped it slowly. It crinkled like wings. She popped it into her mouth. Crunch. Buzz. It tasted like honey and dirt. And something else. Something still alive. That night, Olivia dreamed she was crawling through tunnels. Narrow, warm, wet. Her arms weren't arms. They were joints, hooked. She tasted air with her legs. all around her, whispers clicking, 1,000 voices saying the same word, welcome. She woke tangled up in her sheets. Her fingers twitched, her mouth clicked. Olivia didn't feel like herself the next morning. Her bed sheets were twisted tight around her ankles. Her mouth was dry. Her fingernails itched. Not her fingers, just the nails. She sat up slowly and touched her face. Nothing was wrong. Nothing she could see. But she could feel something underneath. In the bathroom, she leaned over the sink and stared in the mirror. Her eyes looked wider. Her pupils rounder, darker, like a bug's compound eyes with too many faucets. She blinked twice. A memory surfaced. Dragonflies have nearly 3,000 lenses in each eye. They can see movement in almost every direction. Olivia didn't know how she remembered that, but she did, and now she noticed things she shouldn't have, like the spider tucked above the window in the corner of the ceiling. It hadn't moved in days. Today, it twitched, and so did she. At school, things got weird. Her hoodie sleeves stuck to her arm. She kept scratching at them until teeny reddish flakes fell out onto her desk. Not skin, dirt, something in between. She couldn't concentrate, not on math, not on reading, not even on lunch. Everything smelled too strong. The crayons, the classroom hamster, the cafeteria lasagna that made her want to borrow under the table. "Olivia," Leo whispered. "Are you okay?" She turned too fast. Her eyes locked on him. And for a second, just a flicker, he swore he saw her eyelids move sideways, like a lizard, like a mantis. That night, Olivia dreamed again. She was trapped inside glass, a display tank. Children on the other side, tapping, laughing, peering in. She tried to scream, but her mouth had no tongue, just mandibles. In the corner, something clicked. The tall man from the bug zoo stood in the shadows, watching, waiting. He didn't say anything. He didn't need to. She knew. When she woke up, her pillow was damp, not with sweat, with something thicker, clear, sticky. She rolled over and gasped. A small, empty shell lay on her blanket, about the size of her hand. It looked just like a shed exoskeleton, except it had teeny toes. Olivia counted her fingers 4 times before school. Each time it came out right. 10. But it didn't feel right. They moved differently now. Not all together. They twitched in little groups, like they were planning something without her. At breakfast, her spoon slipped from her hand. It clattered onto the floor, and she didn't pick it up. She just watched it roll under the table with wide, still eyes. Her mom barely noticed. "Big test today?" she asked, distracted by her phone. "Maybe," Olivia replied, her voice raspier than usual. "Or maybe just metamorphosis." The classroom lights buzzed louder than normal. Or maybe it was Olivia's ears. She could hear everything, the ticking of the wall clock, the gum snapping in the back row, the flutter of a moth against the windowsill. It was loud, but also inviting. So much movement, so much sound, so much life. During art class, Olivia picked up a paintbrush. Her grip was different, like she held it with hooks, not fingers. When she painted, she made dozens of teeny dots. Perfect circles, perfect lines. When Miss Drexel passed her desk, she paused. "Is that a compound eye?" Olivia blinked. I guess it was. A perfect, gleaming oval, with hundreds of dots radiating outwards. "I didn't mean to," Olivia added softly, staring at it. But part of her had. At recess, she sat under the stairs alone, not because she was scared, but because it was shadowy, damp, cool, the kind of place something might hide. Leo crouched beside her. "Are you sick?" he asked. "You haven't eaten in 2 days, and you didn't flinch when that wasp flew into your hair." "I'm not hungry," Olivia said, "and wasps don't scare me." She didn't mention the reason why, not the memory that flashed through her head. Wasps, paralyzed prey before dragging them into underground tunnels. They lay eggs that hatch inside still living hosts. She smiled. Leo backed away. That night, Olivia couldn't sleep again. The dreams were different now. She didn't just see herself in a tank, she was the tank. Her arms were glass. Her legs were branches, and inside her, hundreds of crawling shapes, clicking, whispering, changing. She woke with a gasp and ran to the bathroom. Her eyes in the mirror were too dark. Her pupils were wider than ever, black, glossy, faceted. And just below the skin of her cheek, she saw movement, something teeny, wriggling. At school the next day, she didn't talk at all. She just stared at the ceiling, at the light fixtures, at the flies. One landed on the window. In a blink, Olivia caught it between her fingers. No one saw her do it, except Leo. And the fly? She didn't kill it. She opened her mouth and let it crawl inside. Olivia's hoodie didn't fit anymore. It had always been oversized, her favorite kind, soft and faded blue. But now the sleeves strained at the elbows and the back pulled tight across her shoulders. She didn't tell anyone about the bumps. She didn't have to. She could feel them growing just beneath the skin, hard, rigid, like something was building armor from the inside out. She skipped breakfast. The food smelled wrong. Even the sugary cereal she used to love made her stomach turn. The only thing that was appetizing anymore was movement. Crisp scuttling, damp wings, the kind of sound you usually only notice in the silence between silences. At school, Leo cornered her by the cubbies. "I need to tell someone," he whispered. "You're acting weird. You haven't eaten. Your skin is..." He lowered his voice. "Shiny?" "I'm just evolving," Olivia said calmly. Leo stared at her. "What does that even mean?" But she didn't answer. She tilted her head and walked away, shoulders rising like something was about to burst through her spine. That afternoon, Olivia stayed in during recess. She wandered the back hallway of the school, the one where the janitor kept a mop bucket and the old lights flickered overhead. The buzzing light made her feel calm, comforted. A memory stirred. Cockroaches can survive without their heads. Their bodies keep crawling, keep feeding. She pressed her palm to the wall and felt a pulse. A skittering behind the drywall. "You're not alone." The thought slithered into her brain like it didn't come from her at all. She had another dream that night. In it, she stood in this bug zoo again, but everything was empty. The tanks, the rooms, the walls, everything except for the back office. A door opened on its own and Olivia stepped inside. The creepy caretaker was waiting for her. He wasn't smiling, he was peeling. His skin hung in ribbons and beneath it, chitin, segmented armor, black and glossy, legs curled from beneath his coat. He held something out to her, something twitching, another candy. "This one's yours too," he whispered. "But not for eating." She woke up in the dark. The bumps on her back had split open. She rolled out of bed in a daze and stepped carefully onto the floor, bare feet crunching on something brittle, shed skin, curled like paper. She turned her head and saw a shadow move across the ceiling, her ceiling, but she hadn't felt anything climb. She wasn't scared. She whispered instead, and the shadow stopped to listen. The first time it happened, it was a single beetle. She saw it crawling up the windowsill during reading time. It stopped, turned, and looked at her. Then it scuttled over and climbed into her desk. No one else noticed, not when the second one appeared by her backpack, not when the third dropped from the vent and landed soundlessly on her shoulder. She didn't brush it off. She welcomed it. By lunchtime, Olivia was surrounded. Flies on the walls, ants on the floor, a daddy longleg crawling carefully across her pencil case. They weren't attacking her. They weren't afraid. They were listening, waiting, and they knew what they were waiting for. Instructions. She didn't speak in words anymore, not to them. She just thought, and they moved. When a girl named Katie bumped into her in the hallway and muttered, "Weirdo," Olivia didn't flinch. She just tilted her head. Katie's locker was full of ants by last period. At home, Olivia's room had changed. Silk crisscrossed from corner to corner, webs too neat, too precise to be from any ordinary spider. The air was warmer, moist, still. She hadn't opened her window in days. She didn't have to. The bugs came inward now, through cracks, through vents. She didn't even know how many, but they moved in a rhythm with her breathing. She stood in front of her mirror that night and pulled off her t-shirt. 2 black ridges had burst through her back. Not wings, not yet. Shells. Hard, glossy plates, smooth to the touch and hollow underneath. Her ribs looked segmented now, like armor. Her voice buzzed when she whispered, "Almost ready." Leo couldn't sleep. Something was wrong with Olivia, and no one else seemed to care. He looked through the Bug Zoo's website, searching for the creepy caretaker, but no name, no photo, no record he even worked there. He scrolled through the candy display section. No black lollipops, nothing labeled IDK. His fingers hovered over the keyboard. Could she be changing? It sounded ridiculous, like something out of a horror movie. But then he remembered how she moved now, how she didn't blink, how just yesterday he found a curled bit of something under her desk, like a shed skin, and the teeny footprint inside it had toes. The next day he followed her after school. She didn't go home. She walked past the library, past the park, to the Bug Zoo. She stood outside the doors for a long time, didn't knock, didn't ring the bell, but they opened anyway. And when they did, bugs poured out like a welcome party. Leo didn't go inside, not yet. He stood across the street, hiding behind a recycling bin, heart thudding like a drum. And he knew 2 things. 1, that wasn't the same Olivia anymore. And 2, she wasn't alone in there. By the time her parents noticed, it was too late. They opened her bedroom one morning and gasped. The room was sealed in silk. The walls pulsed slightly with breath, and the ceiling shimmered with webbing so fine it caught the light like fog. Her bed was empty, but not untouched. A hollow shell rested on the sheets, curled in the shape of a girl. Inside it, nothing. Not Olivia. Not even a note. Just a single beetle sitting in the center, watching. Hours earlier, she had left through the window, not opened it, left through it. Glass had softened under her hand, bending like wet plastic. The insects showed her how. They showed her how to walk on ceilings without falling, how to speak in wing beats, how to vanish. They didn't just follow her now, they carried her. And the place they took her? The Bug Zoo. But not the part people visit, the part underneath. Leo waited until sundown. He had never broken into anywhere before, especially not a zoo. But Olivia was gone, and he was the only one who knew where she'd gone. The front doors were locked. The back door, half hidden between vines and a compost bin, was open. It creaked when he pushed it. Inside, the air was thick, not just warm, not just dusty, thick, like it had legs. The halls were empty, the tanks dark, the insects all gone. No hissing cockroach, no tarantula. Even the leafcutter ants were gone from their tunnel maze. Leo stepped deeper in. The floorboards beneath him shifted, as if something below them was breathing. He passed the front desk. On it sat a single candy jar, only one lollipop inside, black, shimmering. The label, O.M., Olivia Morgan. His stomach dropped. That's when he heard the whispering. Not voices, legs, thousands of them, brushing against pipes, between walls, across ceilings, all moving in one direction, towards the staff-only door. Leo followed. The door was slightly ajar. Beyond it was a staircase lit by a red glow, like heat lamps behind tissue. He descended slowly. The whispering grew louder. He stepped into the bottom room and froze. The walls were lined with webbing. Egg sacs pulsed faintly in the corners. Tanks lined with shelves, but not with bugs, with people, sort of. Some had eyes too wide, backs too rigid. Some were only half changed, and in the center, on a pedestal made of beetle shells and antennae, stood Olivia, or what she had become. Her back was armored, her arms longer, jointed. Her hair hung in thin, silken strands. Her eyes were round. Her voice echoed when she spoke. "You came," she whispered. Leo stepped back. "You're still in there," he said. "I know you are." "I am," she agreed, and then she smiled. "But I'm not alone." From the ceiling, something peeled downward, a curtain of legs, the caretaker. But his face was gone. In its place was a mask of insects, crawling, hissing, nesting. "You've been chosen," he said. "Run," Olivia whispered. "But don't use your feet." Leo ran anyways, and something followed. Leo didn't remember how he got home. Just flashes, the caretaker's mask of crawling insect, Olivia's voice echoing inside his head, the red-lit stairway fading behind him. When he slammed his bedroom door shut, his ears were still buzzing. He checked himself all over, arms, legs, neck, inside his sleeves. No bugs, not yet, but the sound, still there. Click, click, click. He stayed home the next day. Tried to tell his parents, his teacher, the police even. No one believed him. The bug zoo was closed. Staff training, the sign said. Leo checked the website again. All the exhibits were back up. Cockroaches, mantises, spiders. He zoomed in on one new photo, deep in the gallery. A tank labeled "The Candy That Crawled." Inside, something tall, dark, shaped like a girl with jointed arms, beetle shell shoulders, and hair that draped like silk. The eyes were Olivia's, but the smile wasn't. He shut the laptop and turned on every light in his room, but it didn't help, because when he opened his closet, a beetle fell from the top shelf. Then another, then 6, then one still wrapped in plastic, a black lollipop labeled IDK. He picked it up with shaking fingers. It twitched. That night, Olivia dreamed again, except it wasn't a dream. She was awake, fully changed. Her hive pulsed with soft light, webbing glowed like threads of moonlight. Eggs twitched, shells clicked. And above her, the caretaker bowed low. "You've done well," he said. "You were always meant for this." She stepped to the edge of her glass tank and pressed her fingers to the inside. Beyond it, visitors, children, wide-eyed, unaware. Soon someone would take the candy, and when they did, she wouldn't be alone anymore. She'd be the queen, and her colony would grow. Did you know some insects don't just survive injury, they expect it? The ironclad beetle can withstand being stomped, crushed, even drilled, and still walk away. It's like having a skeleton made of puzzle pieces that flex instead of break. And the praying mantises, they don't just hunt, they wait, motionless, for hours, then snap. They strike faster than your eyes can follow. Even creepier, sometimes the females eat the males mid-mating. But that's not all. Cockroaches can survive for a week without their head. Why? Because they breathe through holes in their bodies, not their mouths. Botflies lay their eggs inside mammals, including humans. The larvae grow under the skin, wriggling, feeding, until they hatch and burst out. Ants don't just work in colonies, they think in colonies. One ant can't solve a maze, but 1,000 ants? They'll build bridges out of their bodies, and if one of them vanishes, they know, and they come looking. Some bugs even remember things from the moment they hatch. Smells, sounds, fears, things they've never seen before, but somehow already know. Just imagine, what if the bugs around you remember you? Thank you for listening to The Candy That Crawled, a spine-tingling tale from the world of Sleep Tight Frights. And an extra special thank you to all of you who've been tuning in, sharing, and creeping quietly through the shadows with us each week. Your support is what keeps our stories crawling, clicking, and coming back for more. Tonight's episode was inspired by the wonderfully weird and wildly fascinating Victoria Bug Zoo, a place tucked away in downtown Victoria, BC, where the insects are very much alive and very much close up. If you ever get a chance to visit, you'll find yourself face to face with beetles, tarantulas, mantises, and more. And yes, there really is bug candy in the gift shop, though maybe not the black one. So thank you, Bug Zoo, for sparkling imagination and encouraging kids and grown-ups to see the wonder in the wiggly, the wriggly, and the wildly misunderstood. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to leave a rating, share it with a brave friend, or whisper it to the next bug you see, just in case it's listening. Thank you for listening to Sleep Tight Frights. It means more than you know, to us and to the things that listen back. I'm Evergray, your guide through the shadows, and if you felt something was watching as the story unfolded, you're not alone. They remember the ones who listen, they wait for the ones who return. So come back soon. Sleep tight if you can.